All right, so today let's take a deep dive into something pretty interesting. It's this Forex trading robot called Way to Stars.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like imagine if you could have a little system that just kind of trades for you even like while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So we're going to like unpack all the details about it today. The good and the bad.
Okay.
And we're going to base all of this on what's out there on the MetaTrader market, which is where you can actually find this robot.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So it's like a real thing. It's
It's a
not
real deal.
not just some theoretical thing.
Yeah, exactly. You can actually go and buy this thing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And what really like caught my attention with this one is that it's not just any trading robot.
Yeah.
It's designed for something called night scalping.
Oh, night scalping.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's basically a strategy that tries to profit from like those really small price movements that happen overnight.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. When the market is generally like a lot quieter. So instead of like going for these huge swings,
Yeah.
it's all about like consistently grabbing these small gains
Yeah.
during those periods of like low volatility.
So it's kind of like the opposite of like those, those day traders you see in the movies, like yelling,
Yeah, exactly.
making those split-second decisions.
Exactly. Like, yeah, just like pure patience.
Yeah,
Letting the algorithm kind of do all the work.
right.
So the robot itself is specifically made for the GBPUSD currency pair,
Okay,
which is the British pound against the US dollar.
gotcha.
And the developer like really emphasizes that it works best with brokers that offer low spreads,
Oh, okay.
which means that you're not losing like a ton of money
Right.
on the difference between like buying and selling.
Yeah, because I would think with those really small gains that those like little fees would eat up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every single pip counts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's super important.
Okay.
Um, Another thing that I found interesting is that the developer says that Way to Stars, it doesn't use any fancy AI
Really?
or Chat GPT.
Yeah.
They're like sticking to a solid, transparent trading system.
Oh, wow. So it's like a classic rules-based approach.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. That's refreshing, actually, with all the like AI hype these days. It's kind of cool to see someone that's just like,
Yeah. Going back to basics.
exact to basics. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we like get into the nitty-gritty of, how it actually works and those rules that you were talking about,
Yeah.
I have to ask, like, what makes this Way to Stars thing stand out? Like,
Yeah.
why should someone care about this particular robot?
Yeah. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one thing that I noticed that makes it stand out is the developers focus on the long term,
Okay.
like a long-term stable growth,
Okay.
rather than like trying to get rich quick, which you see a lot in the trading world.
Right.
So we're talking about aiming for returns that could actually outperform like the average market
Interesting.
average over time. But of
Right.
course, past performance isn't always a guarantee
Right, of course. Right.
of future results.
Got to have that disclaimer in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to admit, I kind of like the idea of like a slow and steady robot,
Yeah, me too.
It's kind of appealing.
Yeah.
It's like the financial equivalent of, a marathon runner rather than a sprinter.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so to like understand how this robot aims to achieve those marathon results,
Uh-huh.
we need to look at like the information that's out there for both the MT4 and the MT5 version
Okay.
of the software.
Gotcha.
Now, this is where we're starting to get into like the technical stuff a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So for like those of us who aren't fluent in like Forex lingo,
Yeah.
can you break down what the difference is between those two versions?
Yeah, totally. So MT4 and MT5 are basically platforms
Okay.
that traders use to run their robots.
Okay.
So you can think of it kind of like the operating system
Okay.
for your trading strategy.
Gotcha.
And the developer of Way to Stars, they point out a really key difference.
Okay.
They say the MT4 version has limitations when it comes to backtesting.
Backtesting.
Yeah, so backtesting is basically like simulating how the robot would have performed in the past
Okay.
based on like historical data.
So it's like looking back in time to see if it actually
Exactly.
would have worked.
Yep. And it's really important because accurate backtesting can give you more confidence
Right.
in the robot's potential. And it helps you to see how it might have navigated,
Yeah.
different market conditions.
Right.
But the developer mentions that MT4 can't accurately simulate the way spreads.
Oh.
Those tiny fees we were talking about?
Yeah.
How they fluctuate at night?
Oh, so like the results you get from like backtesting on MT4 might not actually be like
Yeah, might not be.
a true reflection.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Okay.
Now, the MT5 version, on the other hand, it has a feature that's called every tick based on real ticks mode for backtesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So to kind of picture this,
Mm-hmm.
imagine like trying to recreate a race,
Okay.
but you only have a few snapshots.
Okay.
It's kind of like MT4. But MT5 is like having a video recording
Oh, wow.
of every single step.
Yeah.
So you get like a way clearer picture
Okay.
of what actually happened.
So that's a pretty big difference then.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
So if you're serious about like, really trying to understand this,
Yeah. You want to go with MT5?
MD5 for back testing?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Especially if you're thinking about, using it for your own trading.
Right.
Um, okay, so now let's get to what everybody really wants to know.
Yeah.
What are people saying?
Yeah. The reviews, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the reviews are definitely mixed.
Okay.
Some users, they're raving about the stability of it
Okay.
and the fact that it doesn't rely on those high-risk strategies
All right.
like grid trading or martingale, which can lead to, big losses.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of trust because the developer's being transparent about what the robot does and doesn't do.
That's always a good thing. You want to know. Especially when there's like real money on the line.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
And yeah, one user even said, the success rate is perfect.
Wow.
I've been testing the EA for the past 2 weeks, and the results look really promising.
2 weeks, huh?
Yeah, no.
That's pretty encouraging, but I would imagine that's probably not enough time to get the full picture.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
You have to like temper that initial excitement
Yeah.
with a little bit of caution.
Right.
Another user pointed out that because Way to Stars, it focuses on those quiet overnight periods.
Yeah.
There could be some days where it might not even trade at all
Oh, okay.
if the market is just too flat.
So it might be avoiding those big losses, but it's not going to be like making profits every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that same user, they actually said something that I think is really important for
Right.
anybody that's new to this automated trading.
Okay.
They said, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, trading is a long-term game, and you have to be patient when running EAs that have fixed rules. There's no such thing as 100% profits every single day, and it's actually better to take some losses
Yeah.
than letting those losses accumulate.
That's a really good point because it's easy to get caught up in that like hype, and think that a robot's going to just like,
It's going to print money.
yeah, magically print money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really crucial to have realistic expectations.
Right.
No trading system is perfect.
Yeah,
And even like the best designed robots are going to have their ups and downs.
for sure.
Speaking of downs,
Oh.
another user mentioned that they had a drawdown that wiped out some of their profits.
Oh, no.
But they did say that it was in line with the back testing and signal performance. So
Yeah.
it gave them confidence in the EA's long-term potential.
Okay, so that brings up a good point about drawdowns.
Yeah.
And for like people who are new to this, can you just quickly explain what that is?
Yeah, so drawdowns are basically like those dips
Okay.
in your account balance.
Gotcha.
And they're totally normal.
Oh.
They're going to happen.
Yeah.
Even the best systems, will experience them.
Right.
So what really matters is how the system recovers
Yeah.
and if its long-term performance kind of aligns with what you're hoping to get out of it.
Right. Okay, so like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to
It's part of the game.
part of the game. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, one thing that I thought was really cool when I was reading through the comments
Yeah.
was that the developer is actually like actively engaging with users.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're answering questions, addressing concerns, even offering like solutions to technical issues.
Wow, that's really cool.
So no, it's awesome.
That shows a lot of like dedication, I think.
Totally. Yeah. It
Yeah.
shows that they care.
Yeah, they're not just like selling it and then like disappearing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And speaking of their commitment, their pricing strategy is also pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
So they're planning to raise the price of both versions to $699.
Wow. Okay, so it's getting more expensive.
Yeah. So that could be like a sign of confidence, like they think it's worth that much.
Yeah.
Or it could just be like a strategic move to create a sense of scarcity,
Yeah.
like
Huh?
get it now before it's gone kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
But either way, it's something that like potential buyers should be aware of.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one thing that really stood out to me was that the developer is really emphasizing this like long-term
Yes.
stable growth
Yeah,
over those like quick, risky gains.
absolutely.
And they even specifically say that, they're not doing these grid strategies that promise like,
Yeah.
consistent monthly profits, but are like really dangerous.
Yeah, super risky.
So it seems like they're trying to really promote like a responsible approach
Exactly.
to automated trading.
Yeah, which is refreshing. You don't see that too much.
And it seems like that's like baked into how the EA is designed.
Yeah.
We were talking about it being a night scalping strategy.
Yeah.
So how does that actually help to like mitigate risk?
Yeah, so basically by focusing on those low volatility periods overnight,
Okay.
the EA avoids those like wild price swings that happen
Right.
during like peak hours. You know,
when everybody's trading.
exactly when the market's super active.
Yeah.
So it's all about patiently accumulating those small gains while minimizing potential losses.
So it's like choosing to sail in like calmer waters.
Exactly. And to like further reduce risk, the developer highlights that Way to Stars uses strict stop-loss measures.
Now, hold on. Stop-loss orders.
Yeah.
Can you just explain that quickly for the listener who might not know what that is?
Totally. So stop-loss orders are basically like insurance for your trades.
Okay.
So they automatically close a trade when a certain loss level is reached.
Okay.
So it's like setting a limit on how much you're willing to risk on any given trade.
Oh, okay. So it's like a safety net.
Exactly.
So you don't like blow up your whole account
Exactly.
on one bad trade.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And to take that risk management even a step further away, to Stars also has like a built-in mechanism for splitting orders into smaller orders.
Okay, now what's the benefit of that?
Yeah, so by breaking up a larger order into smaller chunks,
Okay.
the EA can enter the market gradually. So it minimizes the impact of any sudden price movements.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like diversifying your entry points,
Okay.
spreading out your risk.
So instead of like jumping into the pool all at once, you're kind of like easing in
Exactly.
slowly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it all comes back to, you know, that theme of controlled sustainable growth
Right.
that the developer keeps emphasizing.
It's not about hitting home runs every time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's about like getting on base.
Yeah, just getting on base.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other risk management features are there that the listener should know about?
So they also mentioned like limiting the maximum number of positions
Okay.
and setting a maximum floating loss percentage.
Okay. Can we break those down like one at a time?
Totally. Yeah.
What does that maximum position limit do?
It basically prevents the EA from like overexposing your account
Okay.
to any one currency pair.
Gotcha.
So it makes sure that your account isn't like overly exposed to the risks of a single trade.
So again, kind of like diversifying?
Exactly, like diversifying your portfolio.
Okay.
And the maximum floating loss percentage.
Yeah.
That acts as like a safeguard for your overall account balance.
Okay.
So it'll automatically stop trading if losses reach like a certain predetermined level.
Oh, so it's like a circuit breaker.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't like totally melt down.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so they've got like a lot of layers of protection in here.
They do.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, and then one other thing that I thought was interesting was that Way to Stars, it automatically adjusts trading times
Oh, that's cool.
based on time zones
Oh.
and daylight saving time,
Oh, wow.
which is a good thing because you don't want your robot like,
Trading at the wrong time.
suddenly making trades in the middle of the night. Or
Exactly. Or like missing trades
Yeah.
because the time changed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really important.
So it's good that they have that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, the developer mentioned that Way to Stars is suitable
Oh, cool.
for a small capital account,
That's awesome.
which is good for people who are like,
Don't have a ton of money to invest.
who are just starting out
Yeah.
and want to kind of like dip their toes in
Totally.
without having to like
Yeah.
risk everything.
Exactly.
Okay, so out of like everything that we've talked about so far, like
Sure.
what are some of the key takeaways for the listener?
I think what really stands out to me is the developer's commitment to transparency.
Okay.
Like they're really upfront about the fact that Way to Stars doesn't rely on like all that hyped up AI
Right.
or like those super risky trading strategies.
Right.
They're setting clear expectations.
Yeah.
And they're really emphasizing a responsible approach to automated trading.
Which can be hard to find,
Yeah. You don't see that all the time.
especially in this industry. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like they're saying like, hey, we're not here to make like crazy promises.
Right.
We just have a solid system
Exactly.
that's based on logic.
It's solid logic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What if, despite all these positives,
Mhm.
Way to Stars just doesn't perform well
Yeah.
in life trading?
Yeah. That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And that's why like doing your due diligence is so important
Right.
before investing in any EA.
Yeah.
Backtesting can only tell you so much.
Right.
Even the most meticulous backtesting can't fully account for, like,
Right.
the unpredictable nature of the market.
Yeah, it's not a crystal ball.
Exactly.
Right. And that's where, like, the user reviews can be so valuable.
Totally, yeah.
Because it gives you a little peek into, like,
Real-world experience.
the real world.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave the listener with, like, a thought-provoking question.
All right, I like it.
So if an EA eliminates emotional decision-making, could it actually make you a better trader?
Whoa.
Could you learn by observing its actions and patterns?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if, like, watching a well-designed EA could reveal, like, insights into, like, market patterns, strategies that, like, maybe we wouldn't notice on our own.
That's cool.
So it's kind of like having a digital mentor.
Yeah, I like that.
Guiding you through, like, all the complexities of the market.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool thought.
We'll have to explore that idea further, but for now, stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into Way to Stars.
Awesome.
Where we're going to, like, delve even deeper into the features and the strategies and all that good stuff.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Way to Stars robot.
Yeah!
So before we kind of jump back into the user feedback, I wanted to touch on something we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
About Way to Stars not trading every single day.
Right. Yeah. We were talking about how it doesn't just, like, chase every little market movement.
Exactly. Yeah, some users even said it could go like a whole week.
Really?
Or even more without making a single trade.
Wow.
Which, might sound kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, especially if you're new to trading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually like a sign of discipline and patience.
Okay.
Because remember, this robot is designed to be picky.
Yeah.
It only enters trades when it sees like a really high probability opportunity.
So it's kind of like that saying, don't just do something, stand there.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this case, it's don't just trade something, wait there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about letting the market come to you.
Yes.
Instead of like you chasing it.
Exactly. And it all goes back to the developer's, like, core philosophy of prioritizing long-term capital preservation over, like, risky, aggressive trading. So it's more about, like, protecting what you have and then steadily growing it over time.
Exactly.
Rather than, like, trying to hit a home run on every trade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like a really important concept for anyone who's interested in trading, whether they're using a robot or not.
I agree. It's easy to get caught up in, like, the excitement of, like, winning big.
Totally.
But, like, real success comes from being, like, more measured, more disciplined.
For sure.
Okay, so before we get too philosophical here, I want to get back to some of the, like, practical details of, like, how Way to Stars actually works.
Absolutely.
One thing that stood out to me in the materials was the emphasis on, like, minimizing losses.
Yes.
Through those stop-loss measures that we talked about earlier, which are like those safety nets that automatically close a trade if it starts going the wrong way.
Exactly. And the developer also mentions a technique called splitting orders.
Right, splitting orders. Can you remind us how that works?
Yeah, so imagine you want to buy like a certain amount of a currency.
Okay.
So instead of placing like one huge order, the EA splits it up into like these smaller chunks.
Okay.
And enters the market gradually.
Okay.
So it's kind of like testing the waters
Gotcha.
before like diving in head first.
So it's not as exposed to those, like, sudden price movements that could, like, really cause a big loss.
Exactly. It's all about like spreading out the risk.
Right.
And minimizing the potential impact of any single trade.
So it's like it's not putting all of its eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And again, this approach is consistent with, that controlled, sustainable growth that we've been talking about.
It's not about making a killing. It's about just, like, steady gains.
Yeah, small, consistent gains. Keeping those losses in check.
Like a marathon runner.
Exactly.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Okay. Speaking of going the distance.
Yeah.
The developer also built in some features that protect your, like, overall account balance over the long term.
Exactly.
They mentioned limiting the maximum number of positions the EA can open at any time and setting a maximum floating loss percentage.
Yes.
So can we break those down?
Of course, yeah.
What does that maximum position limit do?
So it basically prevents the EA from like overcommitting to any one currency pair.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sure that your account isn't like overly exposed.
So, again, kind of like diversifying.
Exactly, like diversifying your investment.
Gotcha.
And then the maximum floating loss percentage.
Yeah.
That acts as like an emergency brake for your entire account.
Wow, okay.
So if losses reach a certain point, it just like automatically stops trading
Oh, wow, okay.
to prevent like further losses.
So it's like the safety mechanism on a roller coaster that
Yeah,
kicks in
yeah,
if
exactly.
things go haywire.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's all about protecting your capital
Right.
and making sure that the EA is operating within your risk tolerance.
Right. So it's like they built in some of that like human intuition,
Yeah.
of knowing when to like step back and like reassess.
Exactly. They've programmed a form of caution
Yeah.
and risk awareness.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got like all these layers of risk management in place.
Yeah.
What about like some of the more technical details of how it's set up?
Sure.
Anything else that the listener should like be aware of?
So one thing that really impressed me was like their attention to detail
Right.
when it comes to time zones
Yeah.
and like daylight saving time.
Right, because that can be really annoying.
Yeah. That's
When you have to like adjust all that stuff.
Totally. And it's super important for making sure the EA is like
Right.
running smoothly, consistently.
You don't want it to suddenly be like an hour off.
Exactly. You don't want your robot going rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it automatically adjusts the trading times for all that.
Okay, good.
Which is really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, consistency and reliability are super important in automated trading.
Okay.
So I think it's time to loop back to those user reviews.
Okay.
And see what people are saying about their experience with Way to Stars.
Yeah, what are people saying out there in the real world?
Yeah, so one comment that I thought was really insightful was from a user who clearly like knows their stuff when it comes to trading.
Yeah.
And they were saying that Way to Stars, it's more about long-term capital preservation than aggressive profit maximization.
So it's not about getting rich quick. It's about like
Exactly.
protecting what you have and letting it grow.
Exactly. Yeah, like slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, like the tortoise and the hare.
Exactly.
But in the financial world.
Exactly.
I like that.
I know, right?
Okay, so what else are people saying? Like, what are some of the common themes?
So one thing that several users have mentioned is like, it's important to understand that Way to Stars doesn't trade every day.
Right.
Some days it might not even trade at all. It really depends on if the market conditions meet the criteria for a high probability opportunity.
So you got to be patient with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be patient if you're expecting like constant action and daily profits. This might not be the right EA.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Exactly.
It's about like steady growth.
Slow and steady.
Time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, one concern that some users have raised is the potential for drawdowns.
Right. Yeah, we talked about those a
Yeah.
little bit earlier.
Yeah, even with all those risk management features.
It's still possible.
It's still possible because at the end of the day, no system is perfect.
Right.
The market's always going to be unpredictable.
Yeah.
And there are going to be times when you experience losses.
So it's about managing those risks and like not freaking out when you see a little dip.
Exactly. Yeah. Stay disciplined and just like have realistic expectations.
Trading is a marathon, not a sprint.
It is a marathon.
Okay. So we can analyze all this data. We can look at back-tested results. But ultimately, the only way to know for sure how an EA is going to perform is to like actually use it.
Yeah. You got to try it out.
In the real world.
Exactly.
So do your research, back-test it early, and maybe start with a small account size.
Exactly.
Something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget those user reviews.
Yeah. The user reviews are super helpful.
It's because they can give you a little glimpse into like what it's actually like.
Real world experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
I
want to go back to that question we posed earlier.
All right.
If a trading robot can eliminate emotional decision-making, could it actually make you a better trader?
That's a great question.
Could you learn by observing its actions?
Yeah. Could it teach us to be more disciplined?
Yeah.
More objective?
Yeah, like it's a trading coach.
Yeah.
That never gets tired, never gets emotional.
Never deviates from the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really cool idea.
So we're in this age of like, AI, automation. This question of like how machines can like enhance human capabilities is becoming more and more relevant. And like finance is like right at the forefront
for sure
of this evolution.
It's an exciting time.
So who knows what kind of crazy hybrid systems we might see in the future, combining like human intuition with like the precision of an algorithm.
That would be cool.
That's a thought-provoking idea.
It is.
It's like a partnership
Yeah.
between human and machine.
Totally.
That's a topic worthy of its own deep dive.
It is.
But for now, we're going to have to leave the listener
Okay.
to ponder those possibilities.
Right.
Stay tuned for the final part
Yes.
of our exploration of way to stars, where we're going to wrap up our analysis.
Awesome.
And talk about the broader implications of what we've learned.
Sounds good.
All right, so welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into way to stars.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the night scalping strategy, the risk management features, and even the potential for learning from its automated decisions.
It's been a journey.
It has been a journey.
It's pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and I really like this whole concept of, like a robot that prioritizes patience and consistency over those risky, get-rich-quick schemes.
Yeah, I agree. And it seems like the developers really committed to that.
Yeah.
It's not just talk. They're actually walking the walk.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see how those principles are built into the whole design of the EA.
Right.
From the focus on low volatility periods to all those safeguards for managing risk.
And they've even been really upfront about the fact that way to stars doesn't trade every single day.
Exactly.
Sometimes it might go a week or more without placing a trade.
Which is unusual for a trading robot.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
It's all about waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it's about being patient.
And not jumping in when things are too risky.
Yeah, it's like they program discipline into this thing.
Totally. And that's something that we humans, we struggle with that.
Oh, yeah. Especially when emotions are running high.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when there's real money on the line.
Right, exactly.
It's hard to be rational.
So that kind of brings us back to that question we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Could observing the actions of a robot like way to stars actually make us better traders?
It's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
What if we can learn from its, cold, calculated decision-making?
Yeah, it's like having a digital mentor.
Yeah.
That's showing you how to approach the market with a calm mindset.
And it never gets tired.
Right, never gets emotional.
It always sticks to the plan.
Yeah, it's like watching a chess grandmaster make their moves.
Yeah.
Analyzing their strategy.
Trying to understand their thought process.
But in this case, it's an algorithm.
Right, exactly.
It's fascinating.
It is.
So as we were discussing, this whole blurring of the lines between human and machine intelligence, this is going to become...
It's the future.
More and more common in the future.
For sure.
And finance is right at the forefront of this whole thing.
Totally.
So who knows what kind of hybrid systems see in the future.
It's exciting to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But for now, let's bring it back to way to stars.
Okay.
And what are some of the key takeaways for our listeners?
So if somebody is really intrigued by what they've heard, what should they do next?
What are the next steps?
Well, first of all, thorough research is essential.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, exactly. This is just the starting point.
Right.
So I would encourage anyone who's interested to explore the materials on MetaTrader Market.
Yeah.
Look at the backtesting data.
Yeah, dig into those numbers.
Exactly. And remember, the developer said the MT5 version is better for backtesting.
Right.
It gives you those more accurate results.
Okay. And of course, don't forget those user reviews.
Yes, always read the reviews.
Because they can give you some real insights.
Real-world experiences.
Yeah.
People who have actually used the EA.
And of course, start with a small account size.
Always.
Yeah. Something that you're comfortable risking.
It's like the golden rule of trading.
Right. Never risk more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. And remember, even the best EA is not a guaranteed path to profits.
Right.
The market is always going to be unpredictable.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
And there will be times when you experience losses.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
It's all about managing those risks.
Yeah.
Staying disciplined.
Right.
And having realistic expectations.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, I think that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
It does.
Into the fascinating world of way to stars.
It's been a pleasure.
It has. We explored its features. We analyzed the strategy.
We pondered its place in the world of finance.
But as always, the decision of whether or not to use this tool is up to you.
It's your money.
It's your money.
You got to make the call.
So do your research, weigh the risks and rewards, and never stop learning.
Yeah, the market is always changing.
Always evolving.
There's always something new to learn.
And as we've learned today, some of the most valuable lessons might come from unexpected places.
Yeah, like a robot designed for night scalping.
Who would thought?
Right.
All right, so until next time, happy trading and keep exploring the endless possibilities of the financial markets.
See ya.